I think if I just wipe all the dirt off of people, just like that, and fit them into a nice little box that's defined by whoever screams the loudest on Twitter, on my timeline. Wait, there's a little bit more. Not quite there yet. Wipe all of that off. There. I think we've eradicated evil now.
Oh my god. What am I doing?
Hi, welcome to Just Thinking Out Loud. My name is Desi-Rae. So, 2 days ago, j.k. Rowling was finally cancelled on Twitter because she said the wrong thing. j.k. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter books. So her tweet said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adults who'll have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real?" ? Hashtag I stand with Maya. Hashtag this is not a drill. She was talking about a woman in the UK who was fired. Her name is Maya Forstater. She's a tax expert and she worked at the Center for Global Development. This is in the UK. And in March, she was accused of making some offensive tweets on her personal Twitter. Maya Forstater said that male people are not women, which is something I agree with, by the way. I think that they can call themselves trans women, that's fine. I think they could be treated as women depending on the person. If I don't like you as a person, I'm probably not going to respect certain things that you want. But when you meet people or people you don't know, I would like to help people feel comfortable in the world that they're in. I would like to have sympathy for what people are going through. I'm not going to know exactly what that feels like, but it's not that I don't care. However, none of that matters if I don't say the right thing in the right way. And that's the issue that I want to talk about today. How other people's perceptions and whoever ends up screaming the loudest is the one that matters, and that the state tries to get everybody else to follow. Months later, after Maya had gone to court to say this is wrong, a UK employment tribunal judge ruled that the belief that biological sex is immutable and that it is impossible to change one's sex is incompatible with human dignity and fundamental rights of others. And this is published in a Medium post by Kathleen Stock, who is a UK academic philosopher, titled "This is not a drill." So that's where that other hashtag comes from. So after I saw j.k. Rowling's tweet, then I stumbled across this tweet by Miss Claus, and there are many more like it, that says, "J.K. Rowling hates trans people, but I want to talk a little bit about the way she hates them so you can recognize it in the wild." It says Miss Claus, I'm assuming it's a she. She says, "Dress however you please and call yourself whatever you like. At first glance, it sounds supportive, but it isn't. It's disengaging." She is taking a very real and concrete issue, the acceptance of trans people as humans with full rights and respect in society, minimizing it to some surface level features, appearance, and names, and then abdicating any responsibility. She's purposefully mischaracterizing trans people as adults playing dress up, and then claiming to be fine with that at a distance. The language she uses is similar to language used to minimize gay people. You can kiss whoever you want behind closed doors. It's also similar to the old favorite, "I don't care if you're black, white, or purple." Purple people don't exist, but now they've minimized the issue of racism and swept it away while claiming to be supportive. All of these phrases add up to the same message. I support you as long as you don't change my experiences or inconvenience me in any way. And that's not actual support. These phrases are said by people who don't know any trans, gay, or black people. They say them because they know their communities won't be impacted and their lives won't change. As soon as their lives are impacted, their support becomes conditional. Beware people who offer blanket support at a distance. As soon as that distance decreases, they will feel threatened. They will push back. Look for people who engage with systemic issues, who dig into the nuances, who question their own beliefs, who have empathy when they don't have to. I read this, I started writing a response, and I said, there's no point. I just said I don't have the same interpretation, and I didn't go on to explain that. What Miss Claus is doing, in my opinion, is projecting. I don't get that interpretation from what J.K. Rowling said. How can you read that much into what someone is thinking? How you see what they're saying is dependent on your background. Your background includes where you've seen other words similar to what J.K. Rowling has said in another context. So you associate it with a certain kind of person. It also has to do with what you think is offensive, because maybe you've seen someone who actually hates trans people say something in a similar way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how J.K. Rowling means it when she says it. This tweet has 78,000.5 likes. So a lot of people agree with this person. This person, Kate, Abolish and Prosecute ICE, said, the thing she said that pissed me off the most was like, sleep with whatever consenting adults will have you. She's implying that trans folk aren't desirable and will have to settle for someone who will put up with them. Not everybody has the same background that you have, and they don't see things in the same way you see it. I can take this super personally for myself. Coming to the United States, it's a huge, like massive cultural shift, especially when it comes to identity, basically just identity. It's completely different from everything that I grew up with. The small differences become so large, you're like, what the hell are these people thinking? That doesn't mean that I don't recognize that other people come from a different background. I come on here and I say my opinion and I say how I see the world, but I don't expect everybody else to see it the way I do. I'm just saying, no, you can't say that because there's another perspective over here and my perspective isn't wrong. I would say something like, I don't see color. I grew up not seeing color. Yeah, I noticed it, but it wasn't a big deal. That purple, if you're black, if you're white, if you're purple statement, that statement doesn't offend me. I don't see it the way that this person sees it. And that's another thing with these issues. Just because your post gets a whole lot of likes on Twitter, it doesn't mean that it's correct. It doesn't mean that your opinion is the one that can represent all other trans people. And that's how it is for every single identity category. And this is why I can't stand this stuff. And this is why I call it projection, because it's subjective. It's based on interpretation. The way that you conceptualize your struggle isn't the same way that everybody else that has this trait that you might have, such as being trans, conceptualizes their trouble, or whatever other supposed minority there is that exists. That's the reason why I simplified my response to I don't interpret it the way that you do, because I know that me trying to explain how I see it probably isn't going to change the way all those people think, because that's years upon years of their own background that comes to this moment in time where they say, this is how I interpret how J.K. Rowling responded to the situation. Another thing I noticed, and it was some really sad tweets in response, I'll just give one as an example from Lily is entering unprecedented levels of lethargy. She said, I think it's a she, I grew up as a trans child reading your books as an escape. I would often pick out names from characters to give to myself before I ever felt comfortable in who I was. This decision to support people that hate me and want to do me harm, it brings me to tears. Why? Why? When I was little, my dream was to one day ask you how people like me would have been accommodated for in Hogwarts. I'm afraid that my dreams might have been crushed if I ever got that chance. This is the second time I'm reading this tweet. The first time I actually laughed right after, not because I don't hear what this person is saying, but because other people are not tools, because you're treating J.K. Rowling in this instance as a tool. And people do this a lot to creators, and I also create things, and it's very annoying to conform to your idea of reality. You don't have the right to do that. I'm sorry that you felt misunderstood when you were younger. That's actually a super common feeling that's not exclusive to trans people. And you don't have the right to tell J.K. Rowling that what she puts into the world and what she creates must conform to your version of reality. And this brings me to my third point, which is going to be a bit of a pivot, which is how this online world has created this culture where people think that they can just look at someone and try to shape how they say things and what they think. And it doesn't even matter what they do and how they act in life. We don't know how J.K. Rowling acts around people she cares about, around people who might be trans, for example, in this case, or whatever other identity category. And it's really ironic that J.K. Rowling was the same woman who changed her character's identity post writing her content in what I would consider a bid to her audience to virtue signal and show how great she was. What you say online and snapshots of your life, they matter, but they don't matter more than how you actually act in the world and how you actually interact with people. And this is something that just seems to be lost when it comes to online cancel culture. I don't know what it is. It's like crazy to me. If I just don't say the right words, suddenly I'm a horrible person. If I don't think in exactly the right way, suddenly I'm a horrible person. I'm racist or sexist or transphobic or whatever. Doesn't it matter how people act? Like, isn't that real virtue? Not what you say and how many likes it gets? Do we follow these people around in their lives? Do we see how they interact with the people who are closest to them, their friends, their family, their peers? The wider society, we don't. We just see what they say at a particular moment in a particular context through words. Better yet, not even nonverbal communication included, but just text. You can't understand someone just from that. You can't do it. I don't know if society has always been this way. I don't know if social media has just amplified it, but it's as if people don't live in reality anymore. Like, reality is how you behave in the world, and you can't only get that from snapshots of people's lives. You can't do that. So this bit that I was going to pivot to, which might seem unrelated at first, but it's not, I promise, was a story of some military personnel in training. They were U.S. Army cadets and Navy midshipmen. I don't even know what these terms mean. And they were being accused, this happened the 14th of December, which is actually my birthday, by the way, of using a white power symbol, the OK sign, which I'm going to use here. And then they were actually being investigated by the US military. And then the investigation just found recently that they were just playing some circle game. There was an initial story published by the Daily Mail, and I again want to point out the comments here. Okay, I'm 36, and when I was in school, the hand symbol meant if you look at this, you get punched. When did that change? And then someone replies, it changed while you lived under that rock, my friend. And here's another one. Up until recently, I never knew there was a white power sign. And then the response, oh really? So everybody's just being told to bunch themselves into this new box that just came out, I don't know, a year, 2 years ago. And if you don't conform to that because you just weren't up to date with online social media, then you're not great anymore. So it doesn't matter how you actually act in your life. Something's really screwed up with society where you can just judge a person's virtue by these not meaningless, but not to this degree meaningful things. We don't actually know what the social life is or what was going on with these people. It's just everybody online commenting to the point where the US military has to do an investigation. Do you see what I mean about this online world shaping people's beliefs or trying to force everybody into a box and then judging people's virtue by not actually focusing on how they act in the world, but whether or not they have the exact right opinion, whether or not we all share the same symbols and have the same meaning for them. And that is defined by who screams the loudest, especially online. There are people who cloak their hate in certain words, but I don't think that's what J.K. Rowling just did. I think it's just the online culture clashing because they live in their own bubble with reality, because everybody else isn't going to see the world the way you do or have the same associations with symbols and words. And I don't know when it's going to reach a point where it just has to crumble, this whole intersectional stuff. I'm not even talking about something else that's an issue, which is arguing for group rights when it's really individual rights that you should be focusing on, because those don't clash. Group rights will clash with other group rights. But that's another topic completely. So that's what I was thinking of this whole situation. It's really absurd what's going on. And let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you for watching or listening to me work through these thoughts and ideas. We really live in interesting times due to the advent of social media and intersectional ideology when it comes to identity. It's really fascinating, if not very frustrating and irritating, because at this point, everyone falls into some group that you're being marginalized in some way. And the biggest minority is the individual. If you like my content, do consider donating at justthinkinoutloud.tv/donate. I have some news about PayPal, by the way, but it's not for this video. And subscribe if you're new to my content and my channel. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye. Army cadets and Navy midshipmen, I don't even know what these terms mean. And I actually won the Harry Potter book, the very first one, as a present for graduating at a certain position in my class from grade 6. And that was when I was introduced to the Harry Potter series. I liked them a lot. By the way, I'm always right in between Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. That if you want to know where my personality lies when I take the official test, by the way. But that's not what this video is about.